Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Wonders of the World in the Confessions subreddit. The post is titled, "My mom told me for 20 years that my dad was dead. Later, I found out he was alive and I have 50 plus siblings. Growing up, I always remember my mom being a single parent. I don't recall the exact moment she told me my dad was dead because I was so young. I have kind of always known. My mom told me that my dad died in a car accident 2 months before I was born. She said he was hit by a drunk semi-driver and was killed instantly on impact. Obviously, no one questions their own mother, especially at a young age. You believe her every word. This is what I always told people growing up if they asked about my dad. I would say I didn't have a dad because he was killed. My mom took this lie so far that even on financial aid papers, she claimed to be a widow. I never caught on to the lies, but when I asked questions, she said things that made sense to me. For example, when I asked, 'Mom, why don't you have any photos of Dad?' She told me they all burned in a house fire started by the dryer right after I was born. This made sense because we had moved to a new house when I was very young. I tried to research my dad and his death, but nothing ever came of it. I assumed it was because back in the day they didn't have computers or the internet, so nothing was online. I later found out his name was Donald according to my birth certificate, which I had to force my mom to give me so I could get my license. Many times when I tried to ask more questions as I got older, my mom became visibly angry. Eventually, I just stopped because I didn't want to get yelled at anymore. I tried asking family members questions, but literally no one, not even my grandma, knew anything. My mom and grandma are super close, so this was odd to me. Fast forward to when I was 19. I started seeing a therapist after being a victim of attempted kidnapping and was diagnosed with PTSD. My therapist suggested that I take a DNA test. When I asked my mom to pay for it because I was a poor college student, she immediately got very angry and yelled at me. She claimed that the government was going to clone my DNA and sell it, so I never ended up taking the test. Fast forward to when I was 20 years old, around Thanksgiving time. My 3 friends and I had a fun day of baking cookies and talking all day long until I brought up the stories of my past and my supposed dead father. I had a conspiracy I made up about my life, totally as a joke. I told my therapist and now my friends. What if my mom had a one-night stand with a rock star and got pregnant with me? She was never able to find him again, so she couldn't tell him. My theory wasn't too far off. My family is extremely Catholic, so to stay in the good graces of my grandparents, she made up a lie that she met someone, got married, got pregnant, and then her husband just happened to die right before I was born. I took a DNA test and then confronted my mom about it. She finally confessed that she always wanted to have a child but never wanted to get married. She found a clinic that would do sperm donor babies. She had 2 miscarriages before me, all with different donors. The 3rd time, she got pregnant with me. The name Donald came from donor. There was no dad that died in a car accident. All lies. With my results from the DNA test, a girl messaged me claiming to be my half-sister. She was correct and introduced me to a group chat with the other siblings. This was 2 years ago, and we only had 30 half-siblings at the time. Now we are up to 50 and expecting more around Christmas time. We are from all over the country. As for my dad being alive, we found this out recently. After years of research and sleuthing, my sisters found our donor through leads from the DNA test. We have reached out to him and he is grateful to know about us. We have limited contact due to his family and horrible wife. His wife wants to keep her good reputation. He never told his family about being a sperm donor in college because of his extremely Catholic family. I wish he would tell them and we could meet our cousins, aunts, and grandparents, but it's unlikely he ever will. Thank you for letting me share my story. User Mary Kay said, OP went from having almost no one to being part of a dynasty. To this, OP said, we have always talked about what we would do if the world went to shit. We would buy an island and create our own dynasty. User Proton said, does the wife know about him being a sperm donor before marrying him? How come his wife is a horrible person while he is the one who doesn't tell his family about being a sperm donor? Do you think, as a person conceived through sperm donation, you have the right to meet the donor's family? User Shadowcat said, that was not the story I was expecting. It sucks that your mom lied, but it's kind of wholesome that you have so many half-siblings and that you all get along and everything. Under this, OP said, "Yes, I am very thankful for the siblings we have found. We are still looking for more, as we expect there are others out there. There is a huge gap between the youngest, who is 13, and the second youngest, who is 20. It would be super odd to have a gap like that. We likely haven't found them yet because 1. They don't have the money for a DNA test at that age. 2. They may also be unaware of the truth and have no reason to question it. And 3. They might not yet be at an age where they care or wonder about it." Update. I was 20 when I discovered that I had 30 siblings. I recently turned 25 and now we have 54 siblings. We are likely to find more during the holidays as many people receive DNA tests as gifts or buy them on sale at that time. Unfortunately, we will never truly know how many of us are out there. The donor industry is extremely sketchy and doesn't keep accurate records of live births, allowing them to sell more. I got married in September and we just received our photos back. 4 of my sisters were my bridesmaids and one of my brothers attended as well. Most of them drove between 7 to 13 hours, and some even flew across the country to be there for the wedding weekend. This experience was something I never dreamed of as a little girl, but I am so happy I got to share my wedding day with my siblings by my side. My friends who bought me the DNA test were also at the wedding and met my siblings for the first time. It was a full circle, surreal moment. Now on to the real tea of the evening. My family members still had no idea about any of this. Literally none of them. My wedding was my debut, you could say, of my mom's long-held secrets. I was tired of bearing her burden because it was never mine to hold. The wedding program included my siblings' names and labeled them as sister of the bride or brother of the bride. My mom had refused to give a speech at the wedding for some reason. I told her that a parent typically does this and that the groom's father was giving one. She still refused, so I told her my sisters would instead. She said that was fine, but I don't know what she expected them to say since they weren't going to lie for her too. They checked with me first to see if it was okay to talk about the siblings and how we found each other. I said, "Frick it, do it." During the speeches, it felt like dropping a bomb and then walking away. I got to sit back, grab some popcorn, and watch the show unfold. My 3 sisters gave a speech together, and it was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. They talked about how we all took DNA tests and how I was found. The looks on my aunts, uncles, and older cousins' faces were priceless. I am so glad we have a videographer and should be getting those back soon too. They were in utter shock and disbelief. Their reactions were almost as entertaining as the speech itself. It felt incredible to finally be able to speak openly about my life. Of course, I noticed a lot of whispering and strange glances afterward, but that was no longer my problem to fix. Thankfully, my narcissistic mother managed to keep it together during the wedding, of course because she has to maintain a front for the world. However, the following week, once we were back home, she was absolutely awful to me, and she still mostly is. Ultimately, I believe it was 100% worth it, and I would do it a million times over again. The truth always comes out. Since we found our donor and have some contact with him, I sent him photos of the siblings and me from the wedding. He was thrilled for us, wished us the best, and said we all looked beautiful. I replied, "Thank you so much. I guess we have some good genes." User Frankie Love said, "One of my half-sisters didn't know she was donor conceived until I told her of a DNA website, lol. That's actually happened to me, I think, 4 times now. Anyway, when she called her mom and asked her about it, her mom immediately hung up on her. Her dad ended up telling her everything, while her mom still refuses to talk about it. Fast forward to her wedding, she invited a few of us and didn't tell her mom. My sister loves drama and wanted to see what her mom would do." To this, OP said, "That is wonderful and I'm so proud of her. My sister did the same thing too." User Winter Apartment said, "It rubs me the wrong way how you absolve your father of any fault and don't see how hurtful your actions would be to any mother. You must have a really bad relationship with your mother because I struggle to understand your complete lack of empathy and your joy in humiliating her in public." Under this, OP said, "From your comment, it seems like you probably had a wonderful relationship with your mother. If that is the case, that is amazing. And I am so happy that you were blessed with that." Unfortunately, not everyone is in that boat. Many people in the world, like myself and many of my siblings, do not have good relationships with our mothers. My mother and I never had a good relationship even before I found all of this out. I have tried countless times to fix our relationship through mediation, therapy, and other means, but she refuses, and still refuses to this day. A relationship is a two-way street. If only one person is putting in the effort, it is not a relationship. It is one person using the other for gains when they need them and then throwing them out like trash when they are no longer needed. I don't expect you to ever understand if you haven't been through this, and that's okay. I'm living my best life with my siblings by my side, an amazing husband, and the best mother and father-in-law a person could ask for, all while being free of secrets. It is liberating not to have to live your life for others in hiding or to act like you and your family are a secret from the world. This next post was made by a deleted user in the True Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, "I'm planning to elope because my parents are trying to make me agree to letting my sister's BF propose to my sister at my wedding. Maybe this is the wrong place, but I'm going to explode with rage and disappointment at my family. My baby sister is the golden child. Or maybe that's unfair to say. She survived cancer when she was a child, which was the darkest period of my parents' lives. I don't remember much of it because my parents shielded me from the horrific truth. I knew she was sick, and I remember all my childhood spent in hospitals. But I never realized that my sister almost died until many years later. I was 12 and she was 10. After she beat her illness, she became the obvious favorite in the house. She got everything she wanted, and sometimes it was at my expense. I resented that, but I always heard that I was a naughty girl for being jealous of my hero sister. My sister grew up to be a brat. Now, 20 years later, she's still bratty, although we get along a lot better than when we were teenagers and young adults. My wedding is in July. Neither my fiance nor I have the money for a big wedding, so we settled for a small wedding at my fiance's grandparents' beautiful house with a lake view. When my parents heard this, they said no way and offered to pay for a bigger wedding and a better venue. We didn't agree at first, but later we didn't want to disappoint them. It seemed important to them. Last week, my mom invited me over. My dad, mom, and my sister's boyfriend asked me what I would think if my sister's boyfriend proposed to her during the wedding so it could become an engagement party as well as a wedding. I said no, that's ridiculous, and laughed. My mom was livid. She told me I was selfish and ungrateful and accused me of favoritism. I told her I always thought it was odd that she would pay for my wedding, but now I know the reason why. She started crying and kicked me out of the house. Later, both she and my future brother-in-law sent me texts warning me not to expose their plan to my sister. My fiance was disappointed, but wasn't sure what we could do. My parents have spent almost $30K, and it's too late to cancel. My mother called me today to plan the proposal, and I begged her not to ruin my day. She told me that since she was paying, she could make requests and that I should let go of my jealousy and resentment towards my sister because she's innocent in all of this. But the thing is, this day will be about my sister. I told my fiance to ask his grandparents if they're still willing to host my wedding. If they are, I'll revert to our original plan. If not, I will just elope. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to tell my family and cancel the wedding or just let them have their grand proposal party. None of my family is invited to my wedding, including my sister. Thank you for listening. User Cryogenic said, uninvite them, go ahead with the wedding at your grandparents' house, and let your sister and parents have a $30K engagement party. It's great that your sister survived cancer, but your parents have put you on the back burner your whole life. Now it's your turn to enjoy it. Do what's best for you. User Inquisitive Pilgrim said, lots of comments seem to delight in the ways you can cause maximum pain to those who have offended you. Mostly, I want to express how sad I am that instead of looking forward to what should be a wonderful day for you and your future husband, you are finding yourself having to do damage control and grieve broken relationships. I have no idea how you can fix this. The only thing I suggest is to do your best to come out of this feeling good about your choices, what you say and what you do. You don't have to make your family happy or do what they want. You are not required to maintain an ongoing relationship with them. You have to live with yourself through the years. Do things in a way that makes you proud of yourself. User Moon96 said, elope, don't tell anyone besides your witnesses, and later have a dinner at your grandparents' house if they're okay with it. Block your parents, sister, and her boyfriend, then announce your happy marriage on Facebook and watch the world burn. Your parents can use whatever is salvageable from their party if they want. If not, that's not your problem. Also, consider going no contact with them. It's clear they don't consider you a priority. Good luck. Update. I really want to thank everyone who showed me support. I'm now happily married and in Como, Italy for my honeymoon. I tried to stay away from my phone, but I was so curious to see my family's reaction to my elopement a week earlier than planned. It was really ugly. I must start by saying that I truly tried my best to negotiate and compromise with my family and explain how this was hurting me. I have nothing against my sister, and to be honest, nothing against her getting engaged at my wedding, but the principle is that it was made very clear to me that I had absolutely no opinion or say in what was going to happen on what was supposed to be my special day. That's where I drew the line. It wasn't a wish or a request, it was a matter of fact and it was decided. So I told my mom that I'm not going to attend the party she paid for. Maybe they should just make it an engagement party instead. She got very upset and told me that the engagement was supposed to be a surprise. I told her that I was just giving her a heads up since she was about to lose an insane amount of money. She didn't take me seriously, as if I wasn't going to cancel my wedding over something trivial. What she didn't know is that I had already made plans to get married a week earlier at my in-laws' house. We invited our closest friends, and some even had to book earlier flights and take more vacation days. For these people, I was especially grateful. What was left was my sister. I'd been back and forth arguing and negotiating with my parents and future brother-in-law. I decided that even if this would ruin her surprise, I had to tell her, so I did. She wasn't really happy with my mom, but she was more upset that I ruined her surprise. As I expected, she thought I could have just sucked it up and gone with the flow. I didn't tell her about my new wedding date. The wedding was dreamlike. In the back of my mind, I was hurt that the people who loved me the most weren't there, but I pushed that thought away and refused to let it ruin our day. My husband was amazing. He promised to make me happy for the rest of my life and to make up for every heartbreak I've experienced in my past. My in-laws surprised us by upgrading our honeymoon to a 5-star hotel. I had my friends, some cousins, and my favorite aunt attending. We asked them not to live stream or upload any pictures to social media until we were already on our honeymoon. We also asked them not to engage in any altercations online with my family. Today, my mom made long Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram posts bashing me and my husband, calling me ungrateful and disrespectful, along with pictures of my wedding. She told people that I've cost her a big chunk of her savings and is now demanding compensation. Her Facebook post was shared about 200 times, and the majority of my extended family is angry with me. She never once tried to contact me instead. Both she and my dad announced that they're cutting me off and expecting compensation. My future brother-in-law commented that I ruined his surprise, and my sister made a post about being tired of jealous people and haters. None of the people we invited have commented, even though some of them were directly attacked, so they respected our wishes. I don't know if they're going to go ahead and turn the wedding into an engagement party now. I really hope they do, so the money isn't wasted. User Taraselli said, "I'm so happy for you and your husband. A huge congratulations from this Australian. I'm sorry that you were born into a family of foolish and selfish people, but it sounds like your new family is wonderful. Wishing you both good health, happiness, and prosperity." User Turnover said, "Congrats on your wedding, love. Let this new chapter be a clean slate for you and your husband, and let go of the family that clearly doesn't value you as much as you deserve. If they don't turn the wedding into an engagement party, hopefully your mother can get some refund for everything. Regardless, it does not concern you, and you should not worry about it. Enjoy your honeymoon. Now go no contact or low contact with the haters, and live the rest of your life happily." User Tiny Statistician said, "You did the right thing. I have a similar experience with my family and my brother, and I don't regret it one bit. I even flew to a country where I don't speak the language and started my entire life over, and I still don't regret it because I'd never truly be happy living a life that only someone else wanted. When it comes to your life, be selfish and prioritize yourself. There are unfortunate times when people you trust and thought knew you will viciously destroy your identity to everyone who knows you. If those people choose to believe your parents without even hearing your version, then they never cared about you anyway. I hope you never feel anxious worrying about what people think of you. It's hard not to, but you don't deserve it. And those people do not care about what's right for you. It's a fact, and I hope you find some peace in this. Like all pains in life, time and focusing on one's own interests will slowly heal everything. The pain you felt earlier will cease to throb during your weak moments. Congratulations on taking an important step for yourself."